try the landline. That's not a problem. Okay, Kokela, I think we need to try it back again. She's having some problem
Okay.
hearing us.
We have someone listening from Montana.
We have somebody listening from Montana. Do you want to give them
Yes.
a special shout out, Kokela?
Yes, Gretchen Geller. She took me to airport and she's gonna pick me up on Wednesday. So hello, Gretchen.
Oh, Gretchen, we are really appreciate you bringing this guy to the airport and to take care of him.
Yeah. Thank you, Gretchen, for listening, and thank you for having us in Montana. We appreciate that.
Can you ask if we sound like real radio people or we sound like ask if we sound real or we sound like weak?
Okay, so I think she's going to ask. She's going to answer that. Do we sound like real radio people? Let's hope.
I think we do.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's try one more time to get hold of our sister down in Los Angeles, Ntandoyaphezulu, and then we hear from her. I think we're trying her on the landline now. Dando, can you hear us?
I can hear you perfectly well now.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining us in. So listen, Tando, I went on this long speech, how I've known you and why I wanted to get you on. There's so many things I can talk to you about, but I know for sure that a lot of us here, as we are here in the United States, there's a lot of things that have been going on. But the most important one that I wanted to talk about is things that have been going on in the Black community, in the diaspora community up in Los Angeles, especially things that might be related to a lot of South Africans, a lot of Southern Africans, and changes that have been happening with the immigration and anything. We can't talk about everything, but just a little highlight. So, Ntando, first off, because the listeners and the people who will be listening to this podcast, they won't be able to know who's Ntando. Do you mind to just break it up just a little bit for somebody, for all the listeners?
First of all, thank you. Thank you so much for, having me on such a beautiful platform. I appreciate what you guys are doing, especially with, South African music. Everywhere I go, I'm everywhere, in the social circles. Everywhere I go, South African music seems to be insane. So I appreciate the fact that you guys are helping to carry the South African flag, especially with the music, and also, just covering what is happening and what people are doing. Thank you so much for doing that.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Mama. Thank you so much. And I have Koelo in the studio here, just to let you know, he's another guy that is here all the way from Nongoma in South Africa. He's here doing a documentary up in Montana, but I will be catching up with him. So just to let the listeners know, so when did you get to Los Angeles? So like, when did you actually when did you arrive in Los Angeles or in the United States as such?
Well, I first came here 20 years ago. I was a teenager coming out of high school. I was 18, I think, years ago. 97, I came to college. I was at UCLA for my undergrad. I was there for 4 years and stayed for a couple more years. So I was in the U.S. between 1987 and 1992. Went to school. And then thereafter, I actually met my ex-husband who was going to school here in California. We met here. So after that, we both moved to Botswana. So I lived in Botswana this year. And then, when the marriage ended, I moved back to South Africa in 1999, where, I was in South Africa doing different things. Different things really in music, different things in events, writing, mostly writing, but doing, different projects. But, my entire adult life, I've only ever been self-employed. So I've been, in different fields, really, doing different things in business. And then, in 2012, I had a family emergency that required that I come back to the US. So I came back December 2012, meaning to only be here for like 3 to 6 months, like seeing that whatever it is was solved. But 6 years later, I'm still here. So yeah, that's like my life in 2 minutes.
Wow, that's so wonderful, sister. So now I just missed a little bit of something there because the phone was just a little muffled. So when you studied here in the United States, is that what you said?
Yes, I went to UCLA to do my bachelor's degree in sociology.
Oh, okay. Wow, UCLA. That's the brains, all right? Is that the brains? Is it brains or
Yes,
bruins?
Bruins. Yeah, yes,
Bruins.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, from Bruins. Yeah.
I lived in California for a little bit. I was up in the valley in Fresno, so up in the heat.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I
Okay.
lived there for a little bit. But anyway, just because it's always exciting to talk to guys like yourself who have actually did some education in a country like in America, and because that's one other thing that I've been trying to emphasize to a lot of diaspora community, that we need to get our education one way or another, because it's very important. Even if you're planning to go back to South Africa, taking the education back with you can be a lot of help. Not also just help you to help the community back at home, it also beneficial for how much you're gonna make for your kids to benefit. So let me just say, was it the education that you got is a high class education that we respect in this country, especially from a high institute like UCLA? Have you been seeing a lot of South Africans in your side of the world that are going to school?
Yes, a lot of people are doing different things. Um, from actually with all foreigners that come into the United States, Africans are the ones that go to school. It looks like, with all the people that come here to live, Africans, they actually do go to school. So it's a good thing, especially for the continent, because um, I think I speak for most of us that when you are here, you are not just thinking about being here, because most of us, we leave family back at home, South Africa, Africa, wherever we come from. And the people at home, they are looking to us
Absolutely.
to assist. They are looking to us to set the precedent, to be some kind of role model. When you say to your neighbor, my child is in the US, there are some kind of expectations in terms of, what must happen in your life. So I see a lot of people going to school. People that are not going to school, of course, they go to work because, I mean, to survive in this country, you have to
Get
have
it. Absolutely.
some kind of
Of a
income.
job. Yep. Absolutely. You know what? This is exciting just to hear that there is a lot of people who are actually looking at education as another way of getting themselves into the top. Because I don't really say that, you know, I don't really say that other ways of making a living not good enough. But I always say, I might not be educated, but I always urge, especially the young ones that just arrive in this country, that they need to get their education. Is very, very important. But now let me ask you a question. I just wanna I'm gonna be jumping a lot of gears. Stop me if you can. Um,
Mm,
you have this wonderful thing that you've been doing with craft. One of the picture actually I put in, and people are gonna get to watch this when I put it on YouTube, is actually gonna show a picture of you where you are wearing a lot of beadwork. And I know for
yes.
sure that you're selling a lot of it. And I've heard so many rumors. I don't want to assume things, I'm not about that, but I've heard so many rumors that some of your artwork has been actually even seen on TV. But can you tell me what's the inspiration behind that? You can talk about that too. You can talk about that
Oh,
too.
of course.
I'm just
Oh,
setting it up for you right now. But let me ask you a question. What
yes.
inspired it? We all know that we Africans would like to be colorful and everything, but for you to actually make it a business, what inspired that?
Oh my goodness. It's one of things I like to talk about, because it's one of those things that fill my heart with joy. I sell beadwork. I sell specifically Zulu beadwork because I am Zulu. I'm from KwaZulu Natal, and I understand Zulu beadwork. Not to say other types of beadwork, there's anything wrong with them. I just understand the Zulu beadwork because I have gone um, into a lot of extent in trying to figure out who I am, who I come from, what my roots are. So, like I said before, when I came back here, I was coming temporarily to sort out the situation. So when it became clear to me that my situation wasn't just going to be a 3 to 6 month thing, I had to think about different ways of earning a living. Okay. I got jobs, coming from South Africa with an employment background of a freelancer, because I had freelance for my adult life. I did not have a track record that says you work for boss so and so, and your references reflected skills are ABC, because I'm just multi-skilled. So there was no particular company that placed me and said, okay, you fit in this particular category. One. Two, all my track record has been from freelancing, being self-employed. So I figured I needed to find a way for me to earn a living. So I got employed by a couple of agencies for me to be able to have a credit record, so that when I go to the bank and apply for a loan for a
For a
car,
loan, yeah.
then I would have had a track record of having banks for certain for a couple of years. But what really moved my soul is art and culture, because most of the things that I've done are in art and culture, and the seed actually for me to decide on selling cigarettes specifically is that I come from a religious family, yes, but me personally, I'm very spiritual. I'm very rooted into cultural practices that define us as Africans. So I believe in African spirituality. I believe in things that define African knowledge systems. So I get dreams that are very telling, that sometimes are messages for other people. So one of the dreams that I had when we were, when I was just trying to figure out where my spiritual footing is, one of the dreams that I had was my grandmother, who is my father's mother, saying to me, I need to take things from South Africa to the world, and then bring things of the world to South Africa. So for me, one thing that has always resonated with me was jewelry. So when I figured out that after having been here for close to a year, I needed to earn a living, that idea of selling beadwork became very prominent, because it's something that I'm very familiar with, something that is very special to me. So I decided to sell beadwork. The decision for each beadwork was one. I was seeing our beadwork being sold by people from other countries.
This is where were they selling it at? Over in Los Angeles? That's why it was happening. Or you just meaning in general?
They were selling it online. They were selling it in Los Angeles. They were selling it, everywhere where I could sell. People were selling Zulu beadwork, and as people who wear this beadwork, people who don't understand it. This was like a few years ago, like 2013, 2014. And for me, it was like, wow, this is something that I understand. I think this is something that I can also take it and sell, because, I have nothing against other people selling our things, but I think it comes better when you sell something from a place of knowing.
Absolutely.
The way that I feel about Zulu beadwork, about Zulu culture, about because when you sell beadwork, it's not like you're selling a necklace to somebody. You are selling the culture behind it, because people that buy, they ask you questions about the relevance, the meaning of the colors. They ask you about, okay, what is this one? Is it okay for me to wear this? And they like to hear stories about the people that make the beadwork. All those things, when you're passionate about something that you go into great detail about it, because you are speaking from a place of knowing. So that's how the beadwork came into becoming the thing that I specialize in. Zulu beadwork specifically, because Maasai jewelry is similar to ours, and the Maasai have been able to package and sell their products properly. everybody knows what Maasai beadwork looks like.
Nice.
Nobody can tell the difference between Maasai beadwork and Zulu beadwork.
Yeah, no,
or
absolutely.
Maasai beadwork and Ndebele.
Yeah.
Or Maasai beadwork and Xhosa beadwork.
Yeah,
so
and
if we...
yeah.
Oh,
No, I was just saying
Go
the
ahead.
generalized thing that has been said by people is just to say, oh, this is I have this African necklace. So you making sure that they know that, this is a Zulu necklace, right?
Yes, I think that's important even for us as a people, because we come from apartheid, a past that vilified who we are. We come from a past that didn't that demonized our culture, a culture, a past that did not allow us to become who we are and fully embrace our Africanness. So as we come out of ourselves, as we rediscover who we are, as we reclaim our Africanness, we want to come out proud and say, oh, here we are. This is who we are. As you can tell now, nobody wants to do a white wedding anymore. Everybody is doing traditional weddings because we have found this new pride in who we are. We're celebrating ourselves more. When you go to events, people are wearing their South African, specifically South African stuff, which didn't happen 10 years ago.
That's absolutely true. So now, quick question for you, because I mean, there's so many things to talk to you about, but I just wanna jump into the part where somebody actually told me that somebody famous or somebody very famous
Yes.
was rocking one of your beadswork, and I just want you to tell me, how did you get that hookup, and who's the person, please?
Oh my goodness, that was I had nothing to do with it. It was just sheer God's grace. That was God's grace. That was just God at work, because I think, when you're passionate about something, the universe can feel it. What happened was I got a call from Viola Davis's stylist.
Oh.
Her people contacted me and they said, okay, they've been scouring Instagram. They like the pictures that I
sent. Wow, they found you on social media. Is that what you're telling me right now?
They found me on Instagram. Yes, they found me on Instagram because they were researching the kinds of different things that they were going. She was going to a movie premiere that was premiering in Canada. So she wanted like an exquisite piece to wear to that event. So they asked for a number of pieces, So I sent those pieces through, and they picked the one that they liked. Actually, they had an idea of what they wanted. We showed them what we had and what they had seen on Instagram. And then, they picked that piece that was, oh my goodness, that was like one of the best days of my entire life, because I could not have set it up myself. So I'm highly grateful to all her team, her stylist, her personal, to everybody that made sure that it happened. And it did not.
This is just unreal. For a child who will be listening to this who is in Africa somewhere, this is unreal, because you got found. This is the power of social media. My goodness, you got found through social media. Now, did you get to meet Viola Davis, or you never actually got to see her except on TV like all of us?
No, I never got to meet with her, because you just meet this not even the stylist, you meet the assistant of the stylist.
Okay. So they did the coffee girl that come and get it. The coffee girl they sent to Starbucks. Yeah, no, absolutely. I know the drill, but I'm just saying, you know what? We are so proud of you, Mama. You know what? We are so proud of you, because as basically one of our own, getting a chance to style a person like Viola Davis, that's actually a very, very, very A-list celebrity right there. Somebody who's making real moves in Hollywood. And you, the chosen one, Miss Kunene, you got to be chosen. Oh my God, isn't this wonderful?
Yes.
Oh
A girl
man.
from
Uh,
Amashongwa Mission, a girl from Amashongwa Mission on the
think
other
about
side of
that.
Mkomazi,
Oh,
who
think
grew
about
up in
that.
Mlazi Township. Can you
Oh, think
imagine?
about it. Put those two pieces together. It doesn't sound real. And I'm pretty sure when you were walking, going to primary school, you have never thought that would get to that level. But now, so after that, did you get any more context from that? Because I'm also wondering, as a person who's being nosy, really, I'm being nosy right now. Did you get any, did you get any other context from that? Or it just kind of like was a once in a
Actually,
while thing?
she wore my sister's twice. She had another interview with
Wow.
Jimmy Fallon. Yes, she had an interview with Jimmy Fallon. From the pieces that she had picked before. She wore another one of that, another of my pieces to that interview. It's on television. You know, everybody can see it.
Yeah, wow. With Jimmy Fallon?
Yes. Because
Wow,
she
Mama,
can,
you.
was a,
There we go, Tando. There we go, Tando. We love it. We love it. Oh my God. Now, so going forward, where do we go from here? Like, meaning with your art, and I know you do a lot of outside events where you actually sell a lot of art. Is the business coming along now, or are you also
uh,
using that as part of the promo? Because honestly speaking, well, knowing me, I never shut up. So I know for sure that I will tell a bum in the side of the road. I'll be like, hey man, he'll be asking me for $5, and I'll be like, listen, man, I don't have the $5, but I have a story for you. And I'll tell him exactly what happened with my life and see
yes.
how they take it. Now, when you're going out there to the vendings and you're selling all this art, do you tell the story? You should have it in a little bit, one of those things that they hand out, like the American history and stuff. If you go to these little places, like a tiny little, what do
Yes.
they call it? You know what I mean? Like it's written down. You should
Yes.
have something like that with a picture.
Oh, okay, yes. What happened? I'm not spending as much as I do because now I've gone back to the drawing board. What happened is actually, I don't even know how to begin to thank Elizabeth Stewart for even thinking about that.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
For
whoa,
this
whoa, whoa,
big
whoa,
task.
whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't drop names without being clear. Let's
Oh,
come
sorry.
back over here. What did you say? You
Oh,
said
sorry,
Elizabeth
sorry.
who? Elizabeth who?
The stylist. If I can't go, Elizabeth Stewart is Viola Davis' stylist. She's
Oh,
the
okay.
one that
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, she's the one that picked us for this. So I can't thank her enough because the momentum that started from that whole encounter of Viola Davis wearing our necklace created another how do I put it? No English escapes you when you're really serious. It created a momentum where people are much more interested in who and what I am and what I do.
Mm,
And then
mm,
another
mm.
thing that has happened from the vending stage is people are like, okay, you have jewelry. What about clothing? So that is what has made us go to back to the drawing board
And it
to see
actually,
now
so you're saying basically
the
it
clothing.
expanded your brand.
Yes, we're expanding
Oh,
into
that's what we're
clothing.
talking about. That's what we're talking about. I'm
Yes,
I'm so happy for you, Mama.
yes. So we're expanding into the clothing. We're developing a clothing line. And as I, of course, what doing this piece by piece and having people wear them, as I wear these things around, even guys are saying, okay, I will rock that jacket, so I want that jacket. So we're also looking into how we can save the males, because as we do the jewelry, guys are always asking, where is the jewelry for the men? So we are trying to incorporate the
Mm.
men in the jewelry
You
line.
know what? I'm glad the guys have been asking you that, because I was gonna ask you like, where is the one thing I can rock to when I'm going to my daily job?
Yes. Oh, we got you. We got you guys. We're
Thank
developing
you.
a whole line.
And you're
A whole
working
line
on
of
an
clothing.
online store. Is that what you're saying? You're working on an online store now where we can purchase it, or we already have one running?
I do have an online store, but it's just for the jewelry. So right now we are working on just putting everything on my personal website because the online store that I have does not belong to me. There are things that are posted that they don't want to sell for me. also it's best for me if I have my own platform where I control who and what I sell.
No, absolutely.
So we are doing the behind the scenes work so that when we resurface, we're resurfacing stronger and the brand that we would like to be seen as in the market.
No, absolutely. You need to do that because, honestly speaking, you shouldn't be having a nobody in the middle of all of that. But anyway, as we wrap up, because I know for sure I'm going to get another opportunity to talk to you about a lot of things, and I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to talk to you, actually, Sissy. And now, listen, I have a young man here in the studio. His name is Kokelo, and he's actually from all the way in Nongoma, and he's young. You know, when I say young, this is a real young. This is the 2000s one, you know. I'm at 2000, but anyway,
Oh, no.
I want is there any Kokelo, first of all, I'm gonna just ask you to ask a question from my sister, but on the other hand too, I want you to learn something from this sister here, because this is the top of the mountain when it comes to the hustle game, when it comes to knowing exactly what this life is about. This is the person, the wisest of them all. This is the people that we need in our community. And I know for sure, coming from a place like at home in South Africa, there's so many questions that we have about things that are going on and things that you've been seeing. We just had June 16. But anyway, do you have a question for Usis?
Okay, I just wanted to know who her most customers, is it white people or black people who lives in America? Because I think with networking and America is so very big, and she lives in California, right? So how expanded she's selling? Is it in few states, or she's expanding to some other states too?
Oh, good question.
Thank you. Yes, Umkhaya. I mean, it says that when people, everybody Umkhaya.
Yes.
Thank you for your question. Okay, the good thing about being online is that you get to talk to everybody around the world. You know, even while you sleep. But you know, I think it's best to try to control your platform. That way, you know, because when you use somebody else's platform, you play according to their rules, and they have their own charges and all of that. But what Etsy has done for me as a platform is that it put me out there in the net, that even though I was a small brand, people could still buy, you know what I mean, if they're not able to be at the events where I sell. So I do events, used to do events where I would be invited, or, you know, where there are vending opportunities, depending on where they are. Southern California, I've gone as far as Northern California, just doing events. I heard you asking about the demographics. Sad to say, the white community really does buy more, because they're almost always interested in the story behind what they're selling. They're always interested in, you know, what more they can do in terms of support. There are communities where I sell, like Crenshaw, Leimert Park, where I've established a track record, having been selling in those communities for a while, where I have a standing market for people like you said. Most black communities where you are going into black communities, yes, people buy. Other groupings like your Asian, your Hispanic, they buy their own things. The Asian, they buy their own things. But it just depends on where you are. Like you, it's a trial and error thing. Also, when you event, is that you always look at the demographics. You think you can. Sometimes you go and you don't sell, but when you go and you don't sell, something usually happens. Like you would meet somebody that would invite you to a private event where you make
you make
more
contact.
money than
You make
get paid.
contacts. You make contacts sometimes.
Yeah, so it's always worthwhile to go out there and show face. Sometimes you go to an event like there are places where the stylists particularly go, like the shops where they know they're gonna get African clothing. If you have a relationship with people like that, then they know that when they're looking for the type of jewelry that you carry, then you have those people as referrals.
Well, Kokara, I hope you got your answer over there. So now, you know what? I wanted to ask you a question too before we let you go. Um, Hey, I would have loved to talk to you more about other things too, but I think I'm gonna have to reschedule this. But now I was gonna ask you because with the fashion and stuff, with everything that we're talking about right now, a lot of it is being lost at home. Kokelo, you can actually probably jump in here too,
Mm.
because I was looking at Ngokelo when he came here, and I'm looking at him, and I saw him last time I saw this young man was in 2017, and I just saw him now, and I'm looking at him. I don't see something I was expecting. You know how we're crazy about all the African things over here, and a lot of people that are so crazy about African things. It seems like at home
Mm-hmm.
they've went away from that. Like nobody cares about. I don't know. I shouldn't say nobody cares, but we don't see it on social media. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
that South Africa and Africa is adopting the West, and the West is trying to go back to Africa? And we just kind of like we passing each other in the middle or halfway somewhere, we like looking at each other weird, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, I don't get it, because that's the thing, it's
No,
like
that's
you
true.
being embraced by people in America, but people at home are not
Mm-hmm.
embracing their own culture as much as they should.
Um, I would say mostly, the West African countries, the countries that have been independent longer than us, they have much more pride in their traditional way than we do. I would say that as a person that actually watches the trends around, the culture and everything, it's changing. Slowly it's changing. Yes, we did not take our traditional way seriously before. We are quick to buy into American brands. I mean, Instagram hasn't helped because everybody wants to be on fleek. And they still saying fleek? I don't know what they is saying now. Everybody wants to look Instagrammable. So for the younger people, they uh, they are not as into traditional way as they could be. But it's
Hmm.
changing because us, people my age, not you guys are better than me. People my age are finding their feet now. You are finding that people are dressing more traditionally than say even 5 years ago. So it's changing. I think because we are a young democracy, we are trying to figure ourselves out. I think eventually we're gonna get to a place where we look at these things as important they are, but it's gonna take people that are gonna be leaders that are gonna champion these things because like when we have now it's even better because we have South African brands. When we have a South African brand like Makosa, like Basi, like all like
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, era by DJ Zinta, all these young brands that are coming out that are specifically South African brands, then it gives us an opportunity to have something to be proud of. And
Hmm.
not all the brands that are coming up now are brands that are competing with the Western brands. You do have brands that are um, you know, specifically South African that resonate with the South African beat, that resonate with the cultures that we come from. So it's going to take more of that where young people look at the landscape because, okay, we're not saying people are Bahama every day, but
Hmm. Absolutely.
let's see what we can, let's see what we can do with it. Like you see people rocking what's it called? What is the thing?
I think ukhuluma umqhele, you mean
Yes,
the head gear. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
I have one of those. I have one of those. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You see people
I
rocking
don't know if I can. You
gear.
know what? Now you just made me think. Can I wear that at work? I need to find that out.
Just test it out and see.
I don't want to
But
test
not
it out. I want to
necessarily,
ask first.
at work.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Not necessarily at work. We don't want to get you fired, but we're talking about maybe like social setting. When I leave this house, I can't leave this house without wearing my boots. One because I'm a walking billboard of what I do. So everywhere I
Yeah,
go out
yeah.
walking my jewelry. I get stopped by people at parking lots because I always carry my jewelry in the trunk of my car. I've had like open food sales for people want to buy what I'm wearing. So it's gonna take us championing our own culture. It's gonna take us teaching our younger children things like, I get sad when I see people my age speaking to their kids in English because the languages we're gonna lose, So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
those are things that we need to keep.
I
One
only talk to my kids in Zulu when I'm really upset, and it always come out necessary like. But no, you know what, sister, we really appreciate you joining us, man. I really can't have enough of talking to you, and I think I'm gonna actually be able to schedule another one where we can go deep into trying to fix our community, because there's so much things that we need to be talking about fixing the community, because how much division and everything that is going on. But I really appreciate you coming through, and I'm hoping that we can schedule a very good one, or maybe if I'm in the West Coast, or likewise if you are in the East Coast, we can actually sit down. And I really appreciate this moment. Thank you so much, Sister Ntandoyaphezulu. Ngiyabonga kakhulu, mama.
Oh my goodness, it is my pleasure. Thank you so much. When you speak about South Africa, when you speak about our culture, when you speak about being African, those are things that I'm very passionate about. So I really, really do appreciate the opportunity, for you to even talk about my business, really, because I cannot buy this kind of publicity. So I thank you so much.
We
And,
appreciate
I wish
you.
all the best.
Thank
I
you
wish
so
all the
much.
best in everything that you do. May you be blessed beyond measure and keep signing the South African flag. I mean, English is such a strange language.
We never stop. Sizokhuluma. I've been getting a lot. I've been getting a lot of these Americans that listen to the podcast, especially, and I've got like emails like saying, "Oh, you excluded us to the podcast this week," and I'll be like, "What do you mean I excluded you from the podcast?" But what they're trying to say is that you talked your language the whole entire time. So, you know what I mean? We gotta reach out. We gotta reach out. We gotta reach out.
Of course.
Who calls is still shining at home? Let's give them the platform to shine.
I was just joking around with you when I was asking the language thing because I understand that you're a global platform. I mean, podcasting is like one of the most serious platforms that we have right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
true. That's the only way to reach people. Yeah,
monetize that way. So you wanna reach the whole world. So that is understandable.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The things that you can say in English.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I ran out of words of English too, like right now. Thank you so much, sister. I appreciate you and I love you, Dando. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.